Good morning, Sarah. Would you like to do a mic check?
Hi, this is Sarah. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Peggy, sorry to bother. Commissioner Tyson still isn't finding the
invite.
invite. Was it sent to his lahcfd.org address?
Let's take a look.
It was sent to GK Tyson at LAHCFD.
Okay, it's G Tyson without the K. So
Okay.
GTYSON at lahcfd.org.
G Tyson. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisor Simidian.
Good morning, and how is our audio today?
It sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Video is nice and clear. Good morning, Supervisor Wasserman.
Mute. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, Supervisor Smitty.
Good morning, sir.
All right.
He will be your clerk today.
Bye-bye. All right. I'm sorry I was getting off the phone. What did you say?
Peggy will be your clerk today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nancy. All right, Peggy, we've got you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How about I'll call the meeting to order and ask you to take a roll call.
Vice Chairperson Simidian
Here.
and Chairperson Wasserman.
Here. Well, that was easy roll call. All right, we're going to turn to public comment. Let me see if I've got any. Peggy, see if you've got any.
I see 3 hands so far. One more moment.
All right, let's give them 2 minutes each.
And okay, our first speaker is Jenny. I am unmuting you. Please accept the unmute and to begin speaking.
This is an opportunity for anyone to speak about anything not on today's agenda. Please go right ahead, Jake.
And
Hi, I'm Jenny. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, sir. So I'm Jenny. I'm living in Santa Clara area over 20 years. So today I wanted to let you guys hear my voice about homeless housing. I strongly oppose to homeless housing along Santanville and the Santa Clara border under the home care funding. I oppose to homeless housing along Santanville and Santa Clara border under the home care funding again. I also read about the data in Mailpad site. Looks like it's not very successful. I urge county to have a detailed, transparent plan and convince us, our local resident, that this will be very successful. And also, I only heard this home key project 2 days ago. The whole process is not transparent at all. So I never got information from my email or from my mailbox. So I wanted to ask you guys, who decided to take these 2 sites? Have you guys realized these 2 sites are surrounded by all the elementary school and very crowded, and the traffic is not very safe. So I'm not against to support the home for the homeless people, but we should reconsider the location far away from residential or elementary school for our children's safety. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is the Housing, Land Use, Environment, and Transportation Committee. It's not the Board of Supervisors meeting, but I appreciate your comments on that. Thank you, Jenny.
Our next speaker is Sam G. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Thank you, supervisors, for this chance. As Jenny said, we're all surprised, very, very surprised regarding the home key shelters coming up in these 2 locations unannounced. I want to specifically talk about the White Oaks location. This is an interim housing one. It's not a permanent housing one, like Supervisor Semiton is going to talk about regarding Mountain View. So there'll be a lot of churn with regards to homeless people. This is home key 2.0. It is bang in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and there is a 2-acre park coming up 600 feet from there. So we are really concerned about our children. We are concerned about our seniors who will be there. As the previous caller said, there is a lot of crime which comes with these homeless shelters. So as our representatives, I urge you folks to find a better location for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rhoda Fry. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Good morning, supervisors. As usual, I'm going to be talking about the quarries. For years, annual reports for Lehigh's Permanente Quarry and Stevens Creek Quarry have shown growing problems at a landslide made of mining waste above Permanente Creek and man-made ponds at Stevens Creek Quarry. This is particularly important because we're concerned about water with the drought and water quality. Each of these quarries are above different watersheds. One is Permanente, the other Stevens Creek. Official documents have referred to the landslide as being a health hazard and threats to homes and structures downstream. Keep in mind that a man-made flood at the quarry in 1983 flooded Block School 4 miles away. Similarly, a water board order reports unstable conditions at Stevens Creek Quarry, which is right across the street from our drinking water reservoir, Stevens Creek Reservoir. Sorry about that. This is what the water board says. Catastrophic failure of the in-stream sedimentation ponds could cause downstream flooding and mud flows. So I'm asking you, please, let's get ahead of these issues. Furthermore, Lehigh has built a new rock plant which can increase traffic and create a deficit of material needed for quarry reclamation. In my opinion, Air District permitted it using unusual recalculations recommended by their legal department. And the county has remained mum about this new use that creates a new rock product using a new process as compared with the rock plant abandoned in 2011. Consequently, I do not believe that this is a vested use and should only be considered as a condition for a conditional use permit. Again, please, let's get ahead of these issues before they turn into problems. And I've emailed the water board letter just now, so you'll have it for your record. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Our next speaker is Joyce H. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Joyce. So I want to express that I strongly oppose home key sites in Santa Clara because it lacks transparency and it is very close to park schools and children playgrounds. And also we have already seen that San Francisco and Milpitas have set very bad examples for the homeless shelters. So due to these home key projects, numerous crimes, murders, have affected our neighborhood seriously. So why are we still following this? And the fourth one, why are we choosing so expensive areas? My husband and I are both full-time software engineers. We can't even afford the housing, a very good housing in this area. So we are paying high tax, and the government collect the tax to build this home key to affect our lives. This sounds very sarcastic. So why can't we choosing affordable areas? You know, in other areas of California or even other states, Arizona, Colorado, why are we choosing so high expensive areas in California? And the fifth one, I think officials should provide the way for us to fight against it. The officials should vote no for funding these projects. And we only vote for the officials who can really help us and do not create troubles. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Rob. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Oh, hi, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I think the neighbor's voice is loud and clear on the HomeKey 2.0 project. We are here because we believe that the city, we spoke with both City of Santa Clara and Sunnyvale yesterday, and they passed the buck on to the Santa Clara County. So we are here to urge all the supervisors that the HomeKey project, especially on the border of Sunnyvale and Santa Clara at White Oaks, have major problems. If you look at a post from Mayor Rich Tran from Milpitas, you'll notice that the Milpitas location had exponential crime in the last 5 months at one of these affordable housing shelters. The interim housing is going to be worse. And putting it 600 feet from parks, putting it in the middle of 13 schools within a 1.5 mile radius is just ridiculous. So I understand where Governor Newsom's coming from with the HomeKey project and proposal. The intent of that is to engage or have the local entities lead these projects. And the reason for that is that you choose the right areas to implement these projects, not just, wait for Life Moves to select a site and nod your heads. So I would really urge the team here that I know there's land use exceptions, zoning exceptions, SECA exceptions, but let's be more proactive and use our common sense of where we put these locations instead of just nodding our heads.
Our next speaker is Stephen. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Stephen. I'm very proud that the government started to take actions to address the homeless issue. However, I'm disappointed about the location choices of the HomeKey project in Santa Clara City, especially. It lacks the transparency needed between government and local residents on many important issues about this project. Just for you, some example, how are these two locations picked? Why pick two locations that are so close to children's playground and schools? Why not pick a more affordable area that could build more units to host more homeless people? Based on Milpitas mayor post, there were like 58 911 calls from the same HomeKey project. This concern
recording in progress.
Whether this facility would be safe for both local residents and the homeless residents living inside the HomeKey project. So I believe both homeless people and local residents need a safe place to live, which is a fundamental requirement for a housing project. So I strongly oppose current location for HomeKey project in Santa Clara City and urge the officials to evaluate all the options and communicate transparently with general public to address any potential concern before take any action. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Alex Chan. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, I'm a Santa Clara resident at the district forum for many years. I still want to discuss the HomeKey project. While I think it's important to address the homeless housing issues and this requires collective effort from the whole community, I strongly oppose the location selection at Bella Vista Inn and Waco Lane, which are at the border of Sunnyvale and Santa Clara. So these two interim housings does not have any screening procedures for homeless people. So in the end of the day, the homeless children and mom are going to live with those drug addicts and people with mental illness. How can you guarantee the safety of these homeless children and mom? Therefore, it's also not safe for the local residents as well as for these vulnerable homeless. And the second, I think there are much better locations than that. The living cost is half of that the living cost is much lower than this prime Sunnyvale, Santa Clara location. You can build twice the amount of units that you can build there compared to the Bella Vista Inn. This could be a win-win situation for both homeless people and local residents. Lastly, I think the whole process is moving so silently that none of the residents is notified. We don't know how the funding are spent and how what kind of developer and people will be involved. Without transparency, I think this will most likely result in corruption. And it also seems to me that the county has rushed the project so quick that they just want to apply the funding ASAP without proper consultation of the nearby citizen. So we want to know, how do you make decision to choose the locations of these two sites, and while bypassing Santa Clara City's decision? We also want to know what kind of decision will be made on November 2nd. Just want to let you know, a few of our neighbors have collected 600 physical signatures within 2 days. We really cherish your opinion.
Our next speaker is Shenyang Yu. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, good morning, supervisors. I'm also against the locations for these two home key sites in Santa Clara. Firstly, they are in a quite dense area, which already there are a lot of apartments around. Like adding another 120 units, permanent housing units there, it's just to make it more harder to manage. Secondly, it's not quite safe. The location is just 1 minute walk to the Lawrence or El Camino Rio. Lawrence has a speed limit of 50 miles per hour. Let's assume if the homeless like walking onto the local expressway is quite unsafe and will cause dangerous accidents potentially. Thirdly, as the previous speaker said, these two areas are quite expensive. Like if we want to help more homeless, we should consider more economic efficient area, which we can host more units there. So this is the first concern, like how the locations get picked. And also yesterday night, we have a public comment session with Santa Clara City Council. Looks like they have little knowledge about how the location is picked and the process of this. Looks like it's lacking planning and communication between city and the county, which is not a good sign for the success of this project. So we urge a detailed plan to be published, planned and open to public and all the public hearing, and then decide if there is any better location than these two sites. Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy, if I may just say to the speakers, we've all of a sudden had a great number of people come on, and we normally go up to 15 speakers at 2 minutes, and then after 15 speakers, we go to 1. So when we surpass 15 speakers on this item, then we're going to switch to 1 minute. Thank you.
And Madam Clerk and Mr. Chairman, this is Supervisors Committee, and yes. I did want to let folks know I am hearing their comments. I'm having some bandwidth issues on the computer, which is why my screen is turned off, but please know that I'm hearing your comments. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Richard. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin. And Richard, can you accept the unmute? We will come back. Our next speaker is David. I am unmuting you. I'm sorry, is this Richard?
Yes, it's Richard.
Okay, you
go ahead.
Please
okay,
begin.
Great. Yeah, morning, supervisors. Yeah, so I'm also a Sunnyvale resident, and I'm also calling to oppose the home key project in its current state. So as many of the speakers previously said, this came out of blue for many of us. A lot of the concerned citizens are in the same chat group, kind of finding out information from each other, as opposed to from the government officials who are supposed to be doing due diligence in informing the citizens about, the decision-making process and the implications it will have on communities. So we're disappointed in that regard, in that we have to kind of, go in the dark and fetch what might very well be incorrect information for ourselves, right? So yeah, and our understanding is that November 2nd is a key date for this project to move forward, and it's been most of us found out about this about a week ago. So I'm strongly urging you to please postpone the decision until all the neighbors have been addressed. There's just too many open questions that we don't have answers to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is David. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Chairman and supervisors. Thank you for having us to speak on important issues relating to the community. My name is David. I'm a first-time parent, and as first-time parents, we are very excited and anxious at the same time. And our baby daughter Julie was born earlier this year right here in Santa Clara Kaiser, and we live in Santa Clara. And we spent a whole year trying to find a neighborhood where our baby daughter can have a safe and fantastic childhood. And we settled down in the Berlin neighborhood because it just fits the criteria. It's a very family-friendly neighborhood, close to schools, close to park, and everything was just fantastic. We were shocked and dismayed at hearing about the home key development, and along with our neighbors as well. Our neighbors, like the street we live in, there's just a bunch of little kids here, and which is why we love it. But all our neighbors don't know about this project, and we were just completely shocked, especially hearing about the experience in the Milpitas home key project, where there was even a bloody murder happen there. This is not the neighborhood that we want our kids to grow up in. So after hearing the council meetings from the City Council, Sunnyvale City Council and Santa Clara last night, we are just kind of also frustrated that the city councils are saying that there's nothing they can do. It's up to the county and the state who's bypassing their authorities. So I would like to ask you, what can the county do? What can we do to get the community involved? And what can we do to get more involved in this project? Thank you.
Our next speaker is Grace. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, supervisors, and this is Grace. I'm the resident of Sunnyvale. I strongly oppose the 3 homeless housing site on the border of the Sunnyvale. Actually, I'm living very close to 2 of them. The homeless housing. One is the White Oaks and the Bella Vista View. I've never heard and seen any information about it until I saw the post on Nextdoor. So, and also the same as my neighbors. And so building such housing for homeless, I fully agree that we should help the homeless people. However, such an event with such high impact to the nearby neighborhood, to my surprise, there's no public hearings, no consultations with neighborhood. And it is right now is in the consent calendar and trying to be approved silently from the public. I urge the supervisor to vote no on November the 2nd until we have more public hearing. And also I want to ask, since we know that there's the home key project in the Palo Alto and Mountain View, they all out of the city. And I want to know why they can, but for the Santa Claras, we are in the residential area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Vanessa. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, supervisors and the council members. My name is Vanessa and I'm a Sunnyvale resident. So the issue for most of us is not about the park. The issue is a plan to build a building that will house 75 people or families. It's not clear, but regardless, if you ever been on White Oak, you will know that there's a serious parking issue with residents already living in the apartment buildings. Further, additional traffic on Watt Street is asking for trouble. It is just plain dangerous. Further, the city will get a one-time fund, which they will spend on the location. Who will be responsible for paying for the upkeep for the facility? Who will be responsible for ensuring the safety of those residents and the neighbors? I am not saying all people are bad, but for this to be successful, you need guidelines, and it is not clear who will even can enforce. I have yet to see a plan on how the management of the applicants will be handled. Right now, it is simply a lot of use to have a bar and small restaurant. There is no way 75 units can be put there. This has nothing to do with being against the unhoused. It is simply law of the physics. Also, I would like to know if Sunnyvale PD and Santa Clara PD are both engaged in this effort to ensure the safety for all the children and the families, whether homeless or with homes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Shenpeng Wang Lu. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Hello, my name is Wayne. I'm a Santa Clara resident. I also share the same concerns as the previous speakers about how the location was chosen. I live very close to two of these chosen locations, and I never got informed of anything. So this is not transparent. So such a big decision should let the resident know, at least of the living a certain less of a radius, that we should be informed. And I'm strongly opposed the location of these two places. Please vote no if you have the chance to vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sarah. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking. Sarah, can you accept the unmute? I will go to the next speaker, which is Jessica H. Jessica, I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, dear supervisors. Yeah, I'm Jessica, and I also live in Santa Clara. So I oppose to the homeless housing along the border of the Sunnyvale and the Santa Clara under the home key funding. So especially I want to talk about the White Oaks Lane location. Actually, I think it's a very bad place for homeless to live in. It's noisy, crowded, and it's very easy to incur traffic accidents. And also it's so close to kids' playgrounds and the elementary school. So I really have a big concern about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trying Sarah one more time. Sarah, please accept the unmute to begin. I will go on to the next speaker, Yvette. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Hi, I'm here to demand more transparency of the Home Key project. Last night, I attended the Sunnyvale and Santa Clara City Council meeting, and quoting the city official, this project is just informational item for the city council. And none of the two cities were able to explain their roles in communicating this project to the general public. I think that explains why many people are still not aware of or just became aware of this project. Because that, I would urge you to provide more consultation with the neighborhood before further proceeding those three sites on the border of Mountain View, Sunnyvale, and Santa Clara. Thanks.
Thank you.
And Yvette was our 15th speaker. So our next speaker is Phil. And one moment, we will switch the timer.
Thank you.
And Phil, I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you for the ability to talk and be heard. Very important, I think, in our community. A lot of us, I echo a lot of the previous speakers on the lack of transparency for one, but also the lack of, the indifference that we feel from our representatives from Sunnyvale and Santa Clara, for those of us who had attended the previous meeting last night. There was never any communication for those of us that lives within like a half-a-mile radius to the two sites right off of Lawrence Expressway. None of my neighbors have heard about this. There was no study done in terms of any data on how this will impact the immediate residents, let alone the small children and the folks that does go by those parks every single day. I'm not saying that homeless does not need a home. They definitely do. We just want more information, more data gathered, and more support from our council members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Susan Grant. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everybody, I'm Susan. So I'm a long-time resident in Santa Clara. I literally live really close to these two sites and like 1,000 feet away. So first thing is like, I think it's unbelievable. I haven't heard about these two projects from, and I mean the government. It's from mouth to mouth. And it's pretty lack of transparency, and we don't know why these two sites are chosen. Is there any other candidates for the location? And the second one is so the safety for both of the homeless people and the residents. So for the homeless people, it's pretty crowded site, and how to manage this a lot of people in this high dense neighborhood, and how to guarantee their safety and the safety of the children and the residents close by.
Thank you.
One last call for Sarah. I am unmuting you. Please accept the unmute if you can. Sarah is not accepting. And then our next speaker is Ray, who just lowered his hand. Then our final speaker is a name that I unfortunately am unable to pronounce. It's in Chinese characters. If you are able to speak English, I am unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. It is
Yes,
me.
your mic is
I'm
open.
so sorry. Okay. So I'm a resident of the Sunnyvale, and so I think we should put the cost here is pretty high, and I think the most important thing is to house the homeless. So they should be so if we move them to a farther place, so there we can like build two homeless center for them, and more homeless will be housed rather here, and also for the Crestview project, there was no public outreach effort to Sunnyvale residents from Sunnyvale City, and it was too convenient to have such a project at that location, because for Mountain View, the area is in industry area, but for the Sunnyvale, there are multiple apartments and many schools and daycares. Do you feel that we are adequately involved in this project? No, I don't think so. So thanks.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Zoe. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, everyone. This is Zoe, and I would like to express my strong opposition to the two projects in Santa Clara for interim housing for the unsheltered people. I live in the Santa Clara Central Park area, and I saw a lot of unsheltered people in the park. I believe that they deserve a roof to live under. However, I think the interim housing 90 to 120 days are not enough for giving them this chance to heal and redevelop their skills for life. And I also think that there's a lack of transparency in the decision-making process. And I would like the city, the county, and also the state to reconsider this selection of the locations, and also to hear more opinions from the public and to delay the process so that all the legit questions for the site selections and vetting criteria are answered before the progress is made for sites.
Our next speaker is Ray. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hey guys, I just wanted to say that this is totally wrong, honestly, because there's no plans, no transparency. So what's gonna happen after they moved in, right? No plan. So do you want your street flooded with, drugs, and all kinds of, weird things happening on your neighborhood? That's just simply wrong. And I don't see any plan after that. And they don't even have told us before they planned it. So this is totally just unreasonable and just, kind of careless kind of action, I think, from what they were doing. And this is totally wrong. And I think this is just totally illegal. I mean, in a sense that they didn't go through the proper process. I'm totally against it. And I don't think anyone with a reasonable thought would go with it because it's just simply wrong. And that's it. Yeah, this is just some emotional thought, but that's, I think if we go enough with reasonable, kind of explanation, but sometimes just think about it, right? I'm not trying to exaggerate the situation here. Just imagine drugs,
Our final speaker is Henry. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Good morning. My name is Henry from Sunnyvale. I share all the concerns and dissent from residents speaking just now. Just to add a couple of points. Try and reduce the level of secrecy surrounding these projects. We don't expect every piece of information to be shared, but apparently the current level of engagement is lacking. A project like this should not go forward without public support. The homeless problem is not a problem about the homeless alone. There's community as well. Secondly, the home key process may be fast-tracked at state level, but that part alone is extremely inconsiderate and thoughtless. Please slow down for us. We voted for you, and this is the favor we ask of you. Have a town hall where exchange of minds can be much, much more efficient. Thank you.
And that concludes our speakers.
Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate that. Do we have anyone attending right now? Maybe Consuelo from our housing. I'm looking on my screen. Supervisor Smidian, I'll turn to you and there's Consuelo as well. Supervisor Smidian, I was going to ask Consuelo what has been done, what's going to be done. Would you prefer to speak before she?
No, I'm happy to defer to staff and then add just a brief comment if I may, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Consuelo, for our speakers, you heard what they had to say. We don't respond directly through public comment to people, but I'm hoping those people are still listening now. But can you give us an idea of what outreach efforts have taken place?
Thank you, Chairperson Wasserman. Good morning. Consuelo Hernandez, Director, Office of Supportive Housing. Perhaps I can start by sharing that across the county, 9 sites have been identified, all in partnership with cities. The county is the lead applicant through those partnerships for the Mountain View site. The city council took action for that meeting in January of this year to work with the county, and we've been hosting a number of community meetings in partnership with the city. The Santa Clara site that speakers spoke about, that is a Life Moves project. They are working with the city of Santa Clara on that. The county is not the lead entity. We are providing technical assistance to all of the cities in terms of making sure that they are consistent with the community plan to end homelessness, that they are following the operational plans that we have, the community engagement strategy. It is my understanding that Life Moves and the city are working on those community engagement strategies now. We did share with the public early on that these are the 9 sites that are being contemplated for that same purpose, with the understanding that meetings would be happening, including one in San Jose that happened on Monday where our office also participated. So from a county perspective, we are the lead applicants for Crestview and for the Bella Vista Inn. For Bella Vista Inn, we are working with Resources for Community Development. They have knocked on the doors of all of the neighbors, all of the business owners. They sent out notices to over 2,000 people. They held a community meeting on August 30th, and there was also discussion at a city council meeting. Happy to share additional details, but we will be providing the board with more information on November 2nd.
Thank you. Before we go to Supervisor Smidian, Consuelo, for anybody that's still listening that spoke, what website for the project they were speaking about, where do you recommend they go to find out more information?
My recommendation is that they reach out to Life Moves for now. I don't believe a website has been created for that project. Our office, seeing that there's interest, we may create a landing page directing people to different contacts.
Wonderful.
But that will take us at least a week to put together.
Thank you. Supervisor Smidian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. I do think there are some uniquely challenging circumstances here, just in terms of the geography And I had the opportunity to realize this a little earlier, perhaps, by virtue of the conversation about the Crestview site, because it's in Mountain View in my district, but it is in very close proximity to the city limit line with Sunnyvale. So we had understandable interest from folks in Sunnyvale, even though it was a quote Mountain View project. And as it happens, and Ms. Hernandez can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that both the White Oak project, the White Oak Lane project, and the Bella Vista Inn are both in Supervisor Ellenberg's District 4, but again, in relatively close proximity to the Sunnyvale city limit line, which explains why you've got so much interest in Sunnyvale as well as in Santa Clara. I do think whatever else the Office of Supportive Housing is looking at in the way of outreach, it would probably be helpful to have some kind of presentation where some of this information could be shared at the Sunnyvale City Council in an open and public forum. I have heard from a couple of folks on that council, including the mayor, that they would value such an opportunity just to both learn a little bit more and also to provide that venue to further explain to the community what the process is and what's currently being contemplated. So I'll follow up from my office on the Sunnyvale issues. I know Supervisor Lee, who represents District 3, will also weigh in as well, but I do think we can provide a venue at the city of Sunnyvale, assuming that assuming the city wants to take advantage of that kind of an opportunity, which I think they do. So, all right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Supervisor Smitty. And that concludes our public comment portion. Move on to our consent calendar, Supervisor Smitty, and we currently have items 10 through 17 designated as consent. Are there any you wish to pull off or add on?
I would move approval of the consent calendar as contained in our published agenda, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will second that, and I will look for participants. I don't see any, Peggy. Looks like we don't have any speakers. Do you agree?
We have no speakers.
Thank you. So we've got a motion and a second. I guess roll call vote.
That's very kind of you. Vice Chairperson Simidian.
Aye.
And Chairperson Wasserman.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. We now move on to item number 4, receive report from the Office of Supportive Housing. That's back to Consuelo.
Thank you, Chairperson Wasserman. I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to Natalie Monk. She is our Housing and Community Development Manager, and she will be providing the update this morning on 525 Charleston.
Wonderful. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you, and thanks, Consuelo. So I can provide a summary of where we are on the development of 525 Charleston. On August 30th, Eden and their architect, OJK, held community workshop number 3 to get design feedback from the community and show the community how their previous feedback has been incorporated. 37 people were in attendance. This marks the end of the planned workshop series, but individual and small group engagement is still ongoing. On September 27th, the Palo Alto City Council held a study session to review the project. The council expressed support for the project's goals, design, and outreach process. And at this point, Eden has met with city staff and confirmed that the project is eligible for streamlined approval under AB 2162, which saves approximately 8 months off of the schedule. So I will share my screen and walk you through the schedule briefly. Okay, so the column on the left shows key milestones for the development. The second column shows our target schedule, our goal. The third column shows what the schedule would be if the developer were to follow a conventional entitlement pathway. And then the two columns all the way on the right are showing projected schedules under the streamlining option. So this column labeled scenario number 1 is our projected schedule. It assumes one round of tax credit financing application. If there were to be a second round, the schedule would default to scenario number 2. So we are currently projected to be on schedule, and it results in an 8-month savings based on the streamlined approval. So Eden at this point is in the process of updating their drawings and preparing to submit for entitlements in November. All right. Thank you. Any questions?
I'm looking to Supervisor Smitty. He doesn't have his hand raised, but my gut says he may have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My questions were primarily about the timeline. I appreciate the staff presentation that addresses my questions. I think the permit streamlining news is very good news indeed. So thank you to staff and the development team for pursuing that. I will just point out, and I want to be very clear, Mr. Chair, this is not a comment about either the development team or the staff or the city of Palo Alto that I think has been very accommodating. But assuming that we sort of split the difference on the two scenarios on timeline at the end, that, you know, just to sort of ballpark it, that means that with the streamlined process, it will be 5 years from the time that I put an item in the hopper to the time we see the development of roughly 50 units. That should just give us all pause about how this process works. I'll let it go at that. And because I know you'd like to move the meeting along, I'll move approval of the recommended action, which is simply to receive the report.
Thank you. It is received reports. We don't even need a vote, but what you're seeing is not uncommon in both the private and the public sector. And hopefully some of the streamlining taking place, led by Jacqueline Ponciano, will help us out at least at the county level. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter, because I think you hit it right on the head. That's item 4. Item 5.
Thanks again to our staff before that we let them all disappear on us, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
You got it. Item number 5 is to receive report from the Management Audit Division and Los Altos Hills County Fire District. And I'm guessing that's going to be our general manager. Well, I guess Cheryl first will lead us off from the auditing department, and then we turn to Ms. Logan. Maybe straight to Ms. Logan. Cheryl, are you there?
Yes, I'm happy to let Ms. Logan speak for the report.
Tell us all the good stuff happening, Ms. Logan.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Chair and Vice Chair, staff and members of the public. I'm Jay Logan, General Manager of the Los Altos Hills County Fire District. And with me today are District Commissioner George Tyson, also Commissioner Roger Spreen, District Consultant Sarah Hendricks, and District Clerk Corey Vargas. We're happy to respond to any questions or clarification of the administration September report. And I just wanted to highlight the district major September reporting items are the Los Altos Hills Community Strategic Fuel Break in collaboration with Mid-Penn Open Space District on mutual boundaries. That is in the planning stage. And then the Moody El Monte Road Evacuation Road and Hardening Project is underway. And records management summary is in the September report, and that includes Board of Commissioner approval of an administrative policy for district records management and retrieval procedures. Just kind of as a general summary, the management audit cover letter and findings are very important that established the actions taken by the district over the management audit process to October 1st, 2021. Vigilance by the district board and staff must continue and strengthen compliance with these recommendations of the Management Audit Division. The management audit process has deeply shaped the district's organization and integration with county processes and assistance from county staff. The district has benefited from the diligence, patience, and guidance of the Office of County Counsel, assistance from the Management Audit Division, and the rigorous support, understanding, and guidance from the Board of Commissioners and from the monthly Hewlett and FGOC committee meetings. So that's my introduction statement, Chairman Wasserman. So thank you.
Thank you. Jay and George, I want to say that I've seen the two of you 5 times more than I've seen my 2 best friends this year. Supervisor Simitian.
Thank you. Well, understanding that this effort is coming to an end, I believe next month, Mr. Chairman, is the last scheduled monthly report. I hope you'll bear with me if I walk us through some formal language here that is designed to bring this effort to a timely and successful conclusion. So the first thing I'd like to do is confirm with Cheryl Soloff from the Management Audit Team that all of the Los Altos Hills County Fire District audit recommendations as approved by the Board of Supervisors have been implemented and that there are therefore no outstanding issues. Ms. Soloff, can I confirm that with you? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then, Mr. Chair, if I may, what I'd like to do is ask County Counsel to lean in and ask if I can confirm with them, with County Counsel, that nothing is happening with or in the district that's causing them concern or is inconsistent with the audit recommendations, and further confirm that Counsel is signing off as to form and legality now that they have been retained as counsel for the district. Can I get a confirmation from County Counsel on that, please?
Christopher.
Sure, that is correct. I can confirm all of the statements that you just made as in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wonder, Mr. Chair, if I could go back through the chair to Ms. Soloff and confirm with Ms. Soloff and our Management Audit Team that the receipt of this report will effectively close out this audit report in her view.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. That being said, Mr. Chair, then what I'd like to do is move to direct our Management Audit Team to advance the report to the full Board of Supervisors at our November 2nd meeting to allow the full board to accept the management auditor's determination that all of the Los Altos Hills County Fire District audit recommendations as approved by the Board of Supervisors have been implemented. And as part of that motion, I would specifically ask that the following language be used in that referral and direct the use of this language. And I'm going to read it verbatim and then share it in writing with all parties after the meeting.
Thank you.
Consider recommendations relating to the management audit of the Los Altos Hills County Fire District. Possible action: A, receive report from the Management Audit Division and the Los Altos Hills County Fire District relating to implementation of Management Audit Division recommendations, and B, accept Management Audit Division determination that all of the Los Altos Hills County Fire District audit recommendations as approved by the Board of Supervisors have been implemented. And that's the end of the language that I'm asking be employed. And if I can get a second and support from you, Mr. Chair, I think that will then close this matter out well and truly once and for all with our final report next month, but also by having the full board see this item. From my standpoint, I know you're always concerned about meeting management, Mr. Chair, so this could be a consent calendar item. I don't think we, unless somebody wants to pull it, which of course is the prerogative of any member of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for adding that consent calendar portion on there. Anything else from Jay or George? Nothing. Thank you very much for absolutely. George, was that a wave or a hand raise?
You know, I just want to say, I won't take your time. I am so proud to be part of an organization that has such a relentless determination to improve fire safety in our area. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Fantastic. Well said. I definitely agree. Jay, thank you for your leadership as well. And Cheryl, you're not on the screen, but I know you're listening. Thank you as well. And I will second that motion of Supervisor Simitian. We have no speakers. May I have a roll call vote, please, Peggy?
Vice Chairperson Simitian.
Aye.
And Chairperson Wasserman.
Aye. All right. That's item number 5. we just concluded. And we're now going to move on to item 6. Receive report from Santa Clara County Central Fire Protection District relating to biannual employee demographics.
All right, good morning, Chairperson Wasserman.
There's Chief Glass.
How are you doing?
Doing all right, Chief. We're building next door, and they just gave me a sample of one of the screws that they're using.
Wow, that's big.
Anyway, Chief Glass, welcome. Nice to see you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Chairperson Wasserman and Vice Chair Simidian, members of staff and the public. My name is Brian Glass, Acting Fire Chief of the Santa Clara County Fire Department. And this morning I have with me Director of Personnel Services, Doug Baker, and the Acting Assistant Fire Chief, Suwana Kirkau. And we'll be available to answer any questions. I'll give a brief high-level overview. This is a report back as a request for Supervisor Simidian on the organization's diversity. I'll be sharing the screen right now. Can you guys see the screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, and this is again a high-level overview. Total employees employed within the department currently remains the same at 301. Our percentage of female safety employees specifically is at 17.28%. That remains unchanged, and these are full-time equivalent employees. Our non-Caucasian numbers have also increased. When you break it down into total fire suppression personnel, you can see we've added some staff, which has allowed us to increase our numbers ever so slightly. Our percent of female, this is including our current Joint Fire Academy, including of recruits, we've added 1 additional. So you can see the increase of 0.38%. We've also had an increase of ever so small increase of our non-Caucasian firefighters within the JFA. You'll see a little bit of a dip here as it outlines in our administrative staff. This is the executive leadership, and I just want to call attention to that. We did have one of our female deputy chiefs that has retired, and we have replaced that individual through an outside open competitive process, and that yielded a successful candidate who happens to be non-Caucasian. We're not reflecting that here. And then we added 1 additional position. So if we would have had 10 members of the A staff, it would have been 30%, but since we added the additional position, it actually reflects 27.27. Again, I want to highlight the fact that this was from the old recruitment process. So again, the way that it works for firefighter recruitment is typically a 9-month process. We start with the testing phase, the application phase, then interview phase, and then we go through background, psychological, profile, medical, and all that takes about 9 months for us to yield the recruit personnel reporting to the JFA, the Joint Fire Academy. So we're in the middle of this new revamped process from our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, which they've changed their name to, IDEA Committee, which is the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accountability Committee, which that was their vote to change it to that. We've yielded 2 outreach and recruitment videos. Both have been posted on our social media sites and pushed out through YouTube. We've also begun our outreach to high schools and junior colleges with our most recent women's basketball practice, where we sent an engine company over there to participate in a practice with them and show them that firefighting is really a team sport. We've also currently right now have 491 candidates going through interviews for our 2022 Joint Fire Academy sessions. Wow. So we're pretty proud of the work that we're doing, and we're hoping that in that 2022 Academy, the Joint Fire Academy, we will have 2 12-person academies next year, and we're hoping to see an increase in our female firefighter recruitment. So with that, I'll conclude. I'll conclude my comments and take any questions.
Thank you. Chief Glass, if I may, you were talking about 400 and I think you said 90 applicants right now?
Yes, sir. We were slotted for 504. Those invitations went out and we have yielded 491.
And that's to fill 24 positions?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's awesome.
We're really trying to cast a large net in order to see what we can find within the community. Again, I have our Director of Personnel Services available for questions, and of course, the Acting Assistant Fire Chief.
Thank you. You've got 20 times the number of spots you have open applying. So you should be able to get very, very quality people. Supervisor Simidian.
I am happy to simply move the recommended action, which is to receive the report. And I guess all I would say to the chief and his staff who are participating is pleased to get the update. The fact that we handle this one briefly reflects the fact that the report was thorough and gives us some reason to think that progress is being made, and perhaps more importantly will be made in more significant measure going forward. But I'm looking at that next biannual report as a time when I hope and expect we'll see even more tangible results in the effort. It is important to underscore this conversation is a function of a grand jury report and action by our board, and I know you all will give it the attention and effort that it requires. Thank you. I move the recommended action, which is to receive the report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think it'll be much more telling once they've had some academy graduations. This 6-month thing is kind of in between their 9-month process. So Doug, Suwana, thank you both very much for the roles that you're playing in doing this. I think Supervisor Simitian summed it up well. And I will second that motion to receive a report. Thank you very much, Chief. Take care.
Have a great day.
And, Peggy, since that was expressed as a motion and I seconded it, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Vice Chairperson Simitian.
Aye.
And Chairperson Wasserman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We move on to item 7, receive report relating to the South Santa Clara County Fire District 5-year financial plan. And before we go on to that, I do want to say to those that we just spoke to, I want to thank them further. I'd like to extend my appreciation to the men and women who choose to pursue a career in our county fire department. I think the fact you have 490 applicants for 24 spots shows the interest in being a fire person. And I'm excited to learn more about your selection process and the results and the graduations from that academy. Thank you. With that, I see Sylvia lit up. So I'm going to turn to Sylvia first, and then I think back to our chief class.
Good morning. On behalf of my colleague, Gary Hersig, who couldn't be here today, what I'm going to do is introduce the persons who will be prepared to present and respond to questions. So we have with us Jake Hess, who's the unit chief of the Santa Clara County, South Santa Clara County Fire District Unit, and then also the chairperson, Jim Aker. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to them. Thank you.
Chief, thank you for being here. Jim, thank you for being here. Go right ahead, Chief.
Good morning. I'm going to have, so once again, I'm Jake Hess, the unit chief for the CAL FIRE Santa Clara unit, as well as the local government fire chief for the South County Fire Protection District fire chief. This was as you've seen in the report, this was one of the takeaways and action items from the 2019 management audit that the South County Fire Protection District went through over the last couple of years. And this was one of the last pieces for us to complete one of the recommendations, which was to put together a 5-year report depicting and explaining some of the financial structural potential issues and concerns that the district has with shortcomings in budgets and how we can contain expenditures and some recommendations associated with that. So we do have Commissioner Acker, who is the president of the Board of Commissioners for the South County Fire Protection District. I'd like to introduce him and have him take it away. And I will be available for any questions.
Thank you, Chair Acker.
Good morning, all. As chairperson of the Board of Fire Commissioners down here in South County, I am give you the good news. I'm happy to report that the fire district is fully operational and they continue to work seamlessly with the Morgan Hill and Gilroy fire departments to provide all levels of fire and EMS services to the area. That's the good news. However, as the report that we are addressing today confirms, the funding to the fire district is insufficient to continue this level of service beyond that of a few more years. This is simply because the costs of fire suppression have outscaled the revenue that we are provided. The costs of fire personnel and equipment have increased significantly over the years, while the tax base really has not. This is causing the district to defer long-term maintenance to infrastructure and mobile equipment replacement. In order to rectify that situation, we provided a few options within the report to either increase revenue or decrease costs. And I'm here today to answer any specific questions that you may have in regards to that part of the report.
Thank you, Chair Acker. Supervisor Simidian, we've got two speakers first. Are you okay with hearing from the two speakers first, Supervisor? Thank you. Peggy, if you'll please allow our speakers to speak. They can have 2 minutes each.
Our first speaker is Vanessa. I'm unmuting you. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Hi, I see the fire chief is here. I want to express my thank you for helping me and my husband a couple of months ago in the middle of the night, 4 a.m. My husband was all shaking around, and we have a little baby at the house, and I have no idea what to do. And then we called the fire department, and then they sent some firemen to take my husband to the hospital. I really appreciate your dedication with the community. So I'm kind of wondering, so I think this is all related, right? So since I think the home key project is going to bring like 75 like homeless people in the neighborhood, I wonder if there's any plan to also fund the local fire department, because they have been working so hard with our community and keep up everything going, right? So now we have more people to take care of. So I wonder if is there any issue? Like I think maybe they could need more hands and more people and more funding, right? And everybody appreciates their help. So I would like to know, with the home key project, is there any part of the funding that will go to fund the local fire police department? Thank you.
Thank you. And again, we don't respond directly to questions, but Chief, you can make whatever comments you wish when we finished hearing from the public. And we're talking about the South County Fire District as far as the Morgan Hill Gilroy area. Second speaker, please, too, Peggy.
Our next speaker is telephone ending in 150. Please accept the unmute to begin. Can you accept the unmute one more time? I'm not able to get, the unmute has not been accepted.
Okay.
But I think there might be a technical issue. One more time. Your mic is open.
There you go.
Thank you. I'm always battling with the Zoom lady about timing. I unmute, and anyway, don't want to waste my time or yours. This is Doug Muirhead, Morgan Hill resident. The title of this document is a 5-year plan, but as it has been referred to repeatedly by the presenters, it's really a report. I'm strongly in favor of having South Santa Clara County Fire District remain a partner with Morgan Hill and Gilroy in providing fire protection services in South County. Unfortunately, your item says you're only receiving a report. So what's missing is the plan to come out of this. The very end of the report on methods of reducing expenses, they talk about service levels will need to be reduced unless additional revenues can be raised. They then give you some ideas about ways to cut service. And then the Board of Commissioners' conclusions contains 5 bullet items, one of which is equipment, apparatus, and infrastructure deteriorating due to lack of funds dedicated for replacement. So I urge you, whoever the responsible parties are, to actually do the forward planning to resolve this deficit and threatened reduction of services. There's no timeline. There's no who does what when next. And really, that's what we need to have. The report is very clear so that we understand we're not just asking for something that we don't need. And with that, I will return to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug.
And that concludes our speakers.
Thank you. Chief Hess, did you wish to make any comment to the speaker that spoke?
Yeah, so to her comment, any time that the public safety, whether it's law enforcement or fire, anytime that we see an increase in numbers of people to protect, numbers of residents in homes being built, statistically speaking, that increases our calls for service. So don't have an answer for her other than the statement of when there are additional people in the communities, it is definitely increases that 911 system in calls for service.
Thank you. Supervisor Smitty.
No comments, Mr. Chair. If you'd like a motion to receive the report, happy to do so.
Thank you. That's not necessary. I do have some comments that I just want to toss out there. I'd like to thank those involved with this 5-year financial plan, as well as everyone within South Santa Clara County Fire District who continue to offer an incredible amount of service given the district's modest budget. I certainly acknowledge the need for more robust funding sources for the fire district. I'd certainly like to further explore these options. I also realize that increasing property taxes to those who live within the South County Fire District's boundaries would place a large financial burden on property owners. I'd heard numbers around $500 a parcel, which in my experience is an extreme amount, especially as many are still recovering from the pandemic. I believe that the Board of Supervisors should weigh all options, including the possibility of allocating a small percentage, about 2% of public safety sales tax revenue, to adequately fund the South County Fire District. These could be discussions that happen in conjunction with the ongoing countywide fire service review. Once again, I appreciate the efforts of everyone who's contributed to making the South County Fire District the success it is today, and I hope to make it an even greater success through increased funding. I appreciate the study, the efforts, the volume of pages, and the reality is, as Chair Acker said, the good news is we're doing a great job. The bad news is our funding's about gone and we have to make changes or reduce service. And I don't know what that answer is going to be. I do know that taking any percentage of the sales tax that is allocated for public safety means that you're taking it from somewhere else. And that's the big problem that I need to learn a lot more of. It would be very difficult to advocate of taking 2% from a pot that other public safety entities rely on for their budgets. So I think it's a bigger discussion if there is that extra dollars that is available. But the reality is the South County Fire District is in jeopardy of continuity, is in jeopardy of providing the services that are needed. And I think this report confirmed that. Now, what we do about it, and well, we need more funding. How we go about getting the funding is the next step. And I will stop with that. Supervisor Smitty, any other comments? Otherwise, we will move on.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Chief, thank you very much. And Chair Acker, thank you very much as well. With that, we move on to item number 8, which is to receive report from the Procurement Department and the Office of Sustainability relating to proposed board policy section 5.15, Sustainable Purchasing Policy. And with that, Jasneet, are you on there?
I am. Good morning, Supervisor Wasserman and Supervisor.
There you are. I see Cheryl and Jean. Yes, Supervisor Smitty.
Thank you. Before we begin, I'd like to make a suggestion as to how we might proceed.
Please.
I think 3 things. Thing 1 is the staff reports that you were just about to commence before I interrupted. Thank you. Thing 2 would be to hear from members of the public, if any. And thing 3 is I just want to indicate I'm going to ask that we continue this item no matter what the conversation is today, just to make sure we have adequate time to get feedback on some of the questions or issues that get raised today, brought back to and through the committee, and also because given the fact that the information got to us relatively recently, I want to make sure we all have time to digest it fully before taking formal action. So if that's agreeable to you, sir, I would appreciate that very much.
Thank you. I know you and I have read the report. No, we don't have anyone from the public. And from what I understand, what you just said is that you have some questions to pose at this time, and then you want to continue the item regardless of the answers.
That's correct.
Thank you, Supervisor Smitty, and you're up.
All right. Well, we have read the report, but let me, Mr. Chair, I think if the staff would like to make any introductory comments, I'd really like to hear them. I don't want them to feel like they got short shrift in any way.
All right, or off easy. It depends who you talk to. Jasneet and Cheryl, please go ahead.
Supervisor Smitty and Supervisor Wasserman, we had a brief presentation, which we're happy to go through as well if it's helpful, or if you feel like you had a good kind of understanding of the sustainable purchasing policy that we're proposing, and also the kind of launching and implementation of a sustainable purchasing program as well. If you think the staff reports and the presentation did a good enough job, then we're happy to go right into your questions as well.
You know, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and forgive me, I misspoke. I am prepared to take action today on the purchasing policy. It's the reach codes that I want to make sure we have time to consider more fully. So if you would like a formal motion from me to simply send this back, to say thank you very much and receive the report, forward it to the Board of Supervisors.
Yes.
I will make that, but I would ask that when it comes to the full board, we have a little more information about the potential cost of this program.
Thank you. I'm on board with you. I'll take that as a motion and second. Any further comments from staff at this point? No.
If I can ask a clarifying question, Supervisor Wasserman, it's when you say cost, Supervisor Smitty, is it more about cost to implement the program?
Yeah, I think Sharma, I think you know I'm supportive of this program. I'm supportive of the reach codes, but I think we have not yet gotten a sort of a bottom line expectation of, so what will it cost us to do this? Or in the alternative, what will we save? But you know, if we do this 5 years from now, adjusted for inflation, is it going to cost us $1 million, 10 million, 50 million? Are we going to save 2 million, 20 million? I think I understand that much of that is speculative, but you have enough jurisdictions out there now who should be able to cut. I would expect you could come back to us and say, you know what, if we choose to be rigorous about our sustainability efforts, that may limit our ability to select certain products. That may mean we have additional costs. And for an organization of our size, that's what it entails. I think that's our obligation as a board to understand what the cost benefit analysis is around sustainability benefits, but at what cost, and then say, notwithstanding those costs, we're prepared to move forward. I also think not only is that our responsibility, but that we'll build more support for these kinds of efforts if we can demonstrate that rigorous thinking. So it's both, in my judgment, an obligation of our board and our county, but it's also essential if we're going to build support for this on a broader basis. So does that help clarify what I'm looking for?
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that explanation.
Okay, and I've got a note. It says Tony, but I can't tell if it's Jacqueline. I got a text message here.
Chairperson Wasserman, that's related to
Tony Lepresti from County Council. That's who I was looking for. Go ahead, Tony.
it relates to item 9 when we get there, Chairperson.
Thank you.
Mr. Wasserman, staying on item 8 for a moment, forgive me through the chair. As I look at the proposed policy language, I think one way to help Ms. Sharma and her team, in asking, like, candidly, what is it Supervisor Simitian wants us to know, is if you look at packet page 108, and this is the proposed sustainable purchasing policy language. At the bottom of the page, it says the Office of Sustainability shall report once a year to the Finance and Government Operations Committee and the Housing, Land Use, Environment, and Transportation Committee on the county's sustainability purchasing activities and the effectiveness of this policy as part of the annual reporting, so on and so forth. I would like to ask that the words, the cost and effectiveness of this policy be a minor amendment so that there is an annual opportunity, but also quite bluntly a requirement that that cost issue be addressed. And so that's a two-word amendment. Cost and would be added between the and effectiveness in the last line of the proposed policy on packet page 108.
Yes, I'm fine with that as well. Jesney, are you all right?
I got it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So 8, we have a motion to go through with that change and forward to the board, not to be held for any further reason. Is that correct?
Indeed.
Thank you very much. I will second that motion. Jacqueline, I saw you came on. Did you wish to speak now?
Not on this item, but I wish to speak on item number 9, please. Chair Wasserman.
Good enough. We'll recognize you in just a moment.
Thank you.
Peggy, roll call vote.
Vice Chairperson Simitian.
Aye.
And Chairperson Wasserman.
Aye as well. Thank you. We now move on to item number 9. Any speakers wish, please register electronically. This is dealing with the reach codes for the unincorporated Santa Clara County. And Supervisor, I understand you may have some questions and then want to defer this.
Yes, but again, on this one, if there is a brief report, happy to hear it. I don't want to give it short shrift. This is a long time in coming and it's important work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before that, we're going to go to the speakers. Anybody else wishing to speak, please register electronically. In fact, we're going to do the speakers after the report. Jacqueline, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Wasserman and Supervisor Simitian. Jacqueline Unshano, Director of Planning and Development. With me this morning is Jasneet Sharma, Director of Office of Sustainability, and Michael Alvarez, our Development Services Manager and Building Official. Before we begin our presentation, we have a PowerPoint presentation that we would like to go through. I would just like to point out that there are 2 ordinances for consideration before the committee today. Version 1, you will see at the bottom of your, is noted in your staff report. Version 1 is an ordinance without an exception for multifamily buildings, and it is, then there's version 2, which includes an exception for multifamily building projects approved by the Board of Supervisors on or before December 31st of 2022. You will note that there is a revised ordinance under version 2 as well that includes some footnotes and information, additional information with regard to our reach codes. And so just wanted to point that out. These are the 2 different versions that are before the Hewlett Committee for consideration. And at this time, I will turn the presentation over to Michael Alvarez, who will begin the presentation, and we will move very quickly so that we can receive questions. Actually, I'm sorry, to Jasneet Sharma. We will move quickly so that we can receive questions from Supervisor Simitian. Thank you.
Chairperson Wasserman, this is Tony Lopresti. Perhaps this would be the best time for me to interject just with clarification on that last point regarding the various versions of the ordinance that are noted on the agenda. Just for the record, County Counsel's office has only reviewed and approved the ordinance version that is in clean and red line at item 9J and K. We have not reviewed and approved the ordinance versions that are at 9B and 9C.
Thank you for that clarification. And for the 200 plus pages in our binder, we've got that. We also got, Supervisor Simitian, some updates regarding this item that came in about half hour before our meeting started, just so you're aware of that. All right, Jesse.
Supervisor, Chair Wasserman, just for clarification from County Council.
Yes.
There are 2 ordinances that are attached. if we can just ask for a clarification, it's been stated that County Council did not review or approve. We need to understand, are these the ordinances that he is speaking to, one without the multifamily or just the two with?
Tony?
The ordinance that we have reviewed and approved is at 9J and K. And so there's, that is both in clean version and then showing strike through as compared to the existing codes.
We don't
not
have
reviewed.
9J and K. Can you just explain the heading of 9J and K, please?
Sure, I believe that was added late to the agenda.
Yep.
And it's up on the current agenda on the website.
And through the chair, if I may be able to help clarify for Ms. Anciano.
Yes.
County Council is indicating that they have reviewed and approved the revised version of version 2, which is the ordinance with multifamily exception, not the original version that was published earlier.
Thank you.
Correct, and we have not reviewed and approved version 1 that's listed at 9B either.
Okay, thank you. With all that confusion, we have your presentation.
Yes, thank you. Jasneet?
Yeah, if you can confirm if you see the right screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Nice page.
Yep, go ahead, Michael. I'll hand off to you to start off.
Okay, good morning, everyone. These are our County of Santa Clara building electrification reach codes. What are reach codes? Reach codes are local amendments that enhance the state code. The County of Santa Clara adopted the 2019 California Energy Code and the California Green Building Standards Code, also known as Cal Green, in January of 2020. These reach codes address building electrification. Electrification reduces the use of natural gas. And these amendments also promote the adoption of electric vehicles by increasing electric vehicle infrastructure at home and at public parking spaces.
So in California, residential and commercial buildings are responsible for roughly 25% of greenhouse gas emissions when you account for fossil fuels that are consumed on site and electricity demand as well. In unincorporated county, where 100% of our electricity is from carbon-free sources through Silicon Valley Clean Energy, 43% of our total greenhouse gas emissions are from commercial and residential natural gas use. So building electrification has been shown and is considered to be one of the lower cost and lower risk emissions reduction strategies that is available to local governments to proactively contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and also minimize the scale and impact of climate change. It's estimated that on average for every home that is built electric, 1 to 2 tons of carbon dioxide are avoided per year, which is equivalent to about 1/3 of our home's electricity use for 1 year. Adopting these building electrification and EV reach codes will enable the county to meet the more aggressive greenhouse gas reduction goals that are currently under consideration in the California legislature and the county's own carbon neutrality goals as well. All electric buildings are less expensive to build and the homes are safer and healthier. And just a reminder that the proposed reach codes will only apply to new construction in unincorporated county.
And Jasneet, I'm sorry, did you just say it's less expensive to build?
Yes, and here's the graph that speaks to that as well. Supervisor Wasserman on this slide. So as I mentioned, all electric homes are less expensive to build as natural gas plumbing and metering and venting is not required. It's also cost effective to require all electrification at new construction stages rather than as a retrofit later on. Natural gas is a significant fire ignition source as well, and induction cooktops, which would be put in if we are going all electric, they enhance safety with the automatic shutoff feature when not in use, thereby eliminating a leading cause of house fires. Both electrical and gas appliances are vulnerable and inoperable during power outages. The electrical distribution recovery is actually faster. It's repaired faster than natural gas. Additionally, resilience in electric buildings is higher due to either water heaters that continue to provide hot water even during a power outage based on their storage capacity, and rooftop solar and battery storage. Unhealthy air pollutants such as nitrogen dioxide and carbon monoxide from natural gas cooking, they regularly exist inside homes at levels that would often be considered unlawful outdoors. Gas stoves in home increase children's asthma risk by 42%. These health harms are exacerbated in low-income communities, which already suffer from health inequities. And over time, as more and more buildings are electrified, mixed fuel bills are projected to rise due to delivery costs. Just to point out, already residential natural gas prices, they rose 3 times faster than electricity prices between 2012 and 2018.
So what's already included in the 2019 code? Well, the first row you see there's the performance compliance margin. For residential construction, it's called the energy design rating. This is a combination of energy efficiencies in the home design, your insulation, your windows, appliances, and the total building energy included in the benefits from solar PV and battery storage. Non-residential construction requires the design building to be better than a code minimum standard design based on a percentage. The code also requires solar photovoltaics sized to cover the electric loads associated with a mixed fuel home. A mixed fuel home is traditionally what we're all aware of as a natural gas and electricity as a source of energy for a home. Pre-wiring of all homes is also included for a future electric heat pump water heater. And lastly, a minimum quantity level and readiness of electric vehicle charging infrastructure for residential, multifamily, and non-residential building types is included. What are other local agencies doing in Santa Clara County? This table lists the REACH code status of incorporated areas and cities within Santa Clara County. As you can see, all but one jurisdiction has adopted one of 3 building REACH code types, and the majority have adopted electric vehicle REACH codes that exceed the minimum Cal Green standards. So what is Santa Clara County proposing? Or excuse me, the County of Santa Clara proposing? We're proposing all electric new construction for single family, 2-family, multifamily, and non-residential new construction. This means that there will be no natural gas or propane plumbing installed in the building. Electricity will be the source of energy for space heating, water heating, which includes pools and spas, cooking, and clothes drying. The REACH code will also require pre-wiring for the installation of battery storage of up to 5 kilowatt hours. Energy efficiencies to be gained in the components of the building envelope, such as insulation and fenestration, will still need to comply with the current Title 24 requirements. Now, wait a minute, are there any exceptions? Yes, there are a few. The first are the junior accessory dwelling units. These are contained within a single family residence, and they would be exempt from all electric requirements and permitted to extend existing infrastructure, such as natural gas piping provided in the primary residence. There's also an exception in the ordinance for non-residential F, H, I, and L occupancies. This is factories, high hazard, institutional, laboratory. And this also includes hospitals and correctional facilities. Buildings such as hospitals and correctional facilities have significant heating requirements due to their 24/7 occupancy, and in hospital settings, the need to sterilize medical equipment using steam. Information on natural gas heating alternatives and such technology as applied to hospitals and correctional facilities is limited or cost prohibitive today. There's also an exception for technical and feasibility. This would be for new buildings where the developer finds that constructing an all-electric building would not be feasible and would request a modification by the building official. An alternate ordinance has also been submitted that includes an additional exception for all multifamily projects approved by the board on or before December 31st, 2022. Pre-wiring for future all-electric will still be required despite these exceptions. So this includes the proposed amendments to the California Energy Code. Now let's switch gears to the electric vehicle REACH code requirements. These are proposed amendments to the California Green Building Standards Code, or is more commonly known as Cal Green. But I think before we dive into technical requirements, let's go over a little bit of background terms. The first column shows speed. Level 1, sometimes known as trickle charging, involves plugging in your vehicle into a standard residential wall outlet, 120 volts with a 20 amp capacity. This may be appropriate for a plug-in hybrid vehicle. Level 2, called standard charging, has a minimum of 240 volts and a 40 amp capacity. This charging speed is more appropriate for fully electric vehicles. And level 3 is your DC fast or supercharging, probably familiar seeing the Tesla supercharging stations. Readiness. The first term here is EV capable that the code uses. This is we have a formal definition in the ordinance, but I found this definition to be helpful to understand. This is a parking space that requires just the infrastructure, the conduit, the breaker space in the electrical panel and the junction box for the future installation of an electric vehicle charging station. Rather than a 100% retrofit job, the contractor would simply need to pull wire through the conduit and connect to the charger. EV ready, whether it be a speed of level 1 or level 2, is a parking space served by a complete circuit. This includes the raceway, the overprotection devices, etc. It could have a minimum of 120 or 240 volts and a receptacle or an electrical outlet so that the vehicle can be plugged in directly without any additional upgrades. The last term here is the electric vehicle charging station. It's a parking space that includes installation of electric vehicle supply equipment, similar to what you see in our county parking lots. The last column here shows the number. The pie chart represents a percentage of parking spaces that must comply with electric vehicle charging requirements. This is the typical approach that you find in Calgary. So our electric vehicle single and two family new construction. So the current 2019 code requires one level 2 EV capable parking space per dwelling unit. The County of Santa Clara proposal includes one level 2 EV ready space and one level 1 EV ready space. An exception is provided for accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units without additional parking or without installation of panel upgrade or a new panel. Electric vehicle multifamily new construction. On your left, you see that the current Cal Green mandatory requirements require 10% of parking spaces be electric vehicle capable. On the right, the County of Santa Clara proposes the following. For multifamily dwelling unit buildings with less than 20 units, one level 2 EV ready parking space will be provided per unit. When there are more than 20 units, the first 20 dwelling units, at least one parking space per dwelling unit shall be provided with a level 2 EV ready space. 25% of the remaining dwelling units with parking spaces shall be provided with at least one level 2 EV ready space. And in addition, each dwelling unit with parking spaces that do not have at least one level 2 space shall be provided with at least one level 1 EV ready space. One example that might be helpful is if you take a 100 unit multifamily building, the first 20 dwelling unit parking spaces would be level 2 ready. Of the remaining 80, 25% or 20 additional dwelling unit parking spaces would be level 2 EV ready. And the remaining 60 dwelling units with parking spaces would be level 1 EV ready. Therefore, you would have a total of 40 level 2 EV ready spaces and 60 level 1 EV ready spaces.
Through the chair, excuse me if I could interrupt here.
Yes.
Thank you. I apologize for the interruption, but
sorry, I was muted. Yes, please.
Frankly, this is important but confusing, and I just want to make sure I understand. So, and I'm going to use layman's language, Mr. Alvarez, if I may. So, in this 100-unit building that is the theoretical or hypothetical construction, how many of the 100 units, let's say there were 100 parking spaces, how many of the parking spaces have to have what I would call an EV charger? I can drive up, I can plug it in, and I've got an EV charger. How many would be required under the ordinance?
If there was 100, if each dwelling unit, so we have 100 dwelling units and 1 parking space per dwelling unit. So we have 100 parking spaces.
Yes.
All of the parking spaces would have some level of electric vehicle charging based on the ordinance.
So if you could go back on your screen, please. Did we get this handout, Mr. Chair, in advance of today's meeting? I have lots of paper, but I don't see this one.
Nope, I don't see this one either.
Okay, if we could go back, please, to the screen that shows what a level 1 is and a level 2 is. Thank you. So if you can, Mr. Alvarez, using this chart. So level 1, level 2, and level 3, in this 100 space, 100 unit building we're imagining, what percentage of each of these would be required?
40 would be level 2 standard charging in this example. And 60 of the parking spaces would be level 1, or the trickle charging your standard outlet.
So essentially 100% of the parking spaces need to have the ability to charge. Is that correct?
In this particular instance, what we're describing, yes.
All right, I'm going to come back to that later. Why don't I let Mr. Alvarez go ahead and complete his presentation. I am concerned about the lack of time, Mr. Chair, which I know is on your mind as well.
Thank you. Go ahead, Michael.
So next slide. So electric vehicle, non-residential, office, and commercial. On the left, the 2019 Cal Green Code requires 6% of parking spaces with 10 or more parking spaces to have level 2 EV capable spaces. The county proposal on the right for new offices with 10 or more parking spaces requires that 20% of spaces are equipped with level 2 EV charging stations, and an additional 30% of spaces shall be EV capable. For new non-residential, non-office construction with 10 or more parking spaces, 10% of the parking spaces will be equipped with level 2 EV charging stations. And the next steps are to accept the report related to the ordinance to establish a county energy code for new consideration and forward to the board for consideration.
If I may, through the chair.
Yes, Kathleen.
We did hear from Supervisor Simidian that he was going to continue this item. So we are available for questions as Supervisor Simidian said he would outline for us.
Yeah, we've got 5 members of the public. All right, if they speak first, Supervisor, thank you.
Absolutely.
Peggy, go ahead and let the individuals in, please. Now the totals are going up. Hold on just a minute. This is why I gave all that time for people to register. All righty, if we're stopping there, let's do 2 minutes each. Peggy?
Our first speaker is Mariah Merriweather. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Good morning. I'm Maria Merriweather, and I live in San Jose, and I'm here with Mothers Out Front Silicon Valley. We are a grassroots group. We are a grassroots group of mothers and allies concerned with climate stabilization. Climate change is a pervasive threat to health, wellness, safety, and thriving for all of us, individually and for the future of humankind and other life forms. It's important to me to take whatever personal actions I can to support climate stabilization. So I want to thank you for your work to support electrification of buildings and to support electric vehicle charging as part of new construction. We support the recommendation to establish a county energy code that promotes building electrification and electric vehicle infrastructure for new construction. These policies are crucial in order to reduce greenhouse gases. Reducing the use of natural gas means that less methane will be released in our county. And as we know, methane is an especially potent greenhouse gas. In addition, all electric buildings are less expensive to build and cost less for utilities each month ongoing. Also, all electric buildings eliminate the negative health consequences we've been hearing about, from gas leaking into homes and offices, and reduce other risks of the use of natural gas. We urge you to pass policies to support the strongest implementation of all electric in all new construction without exemptions. We urge you to pass policies to support the strongest implementation of vehicle charging support for all new construction without exemptions. Our youth will have to live with the consequences of climate crisis. All of us depend on a livable climate. We urge you to take bold and decisive action regarding this issue, and we appreciate your support and your solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Susan Butler Graham. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Hi, I'm a volunteer leader with Mothers Out Front Silicon Valley. Our grassroots group of mothers and allies has 2,000 members in Santa Clara County. We support the recommendation to establish a county energy code to promote building electrification and electric vehicle infrastructure for new construction without an exemption for multifamily buildings. All electric buildings are critical to protect us from the worst impacts of the climate crisis. They are also safer, less expensive to build and operate, and better for public health. Electric energy codes are most effective when we eliminate all new gas line infrastructure to areas of new construction. In eliminating the cost of this outdated infrastructure, we also eliminate the fracking and methane leaks from fossil gas drilling, as well as safety hazards due to leaks and pipeline explosions. As we heard, building operations contribute about 40% of greenhouse gas emissions in this area. Health-wise, gas stoves pollute indoor air with nitrogen dioxide and other toxins, elevating risks of asthma and other respiratory diseases. The pollutants found in indoor air often exceed the allowable limits for outdoor use. Gas appliances do not support grid resilience, as most modern gas equipment depends on electricity to start and operate. In some emergencies, such as earthquakes, gas supply is also shut off and usually takes much longer to restore than electricity. There's no reason to keep building with gas. Investment in EV charging infrastructure would save the county and residents money in avoiding costs from retrofits. We all know installing EV infrastructure at the time of new construction is far cheaper than retrofitting. Families in multifamily buildings deserve equal access to EV charging and clean indoor air. Please vote yes.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is James Talea. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Good morning. This is James Talea, resident of Sunnyvale in the county for 22 years. I used to work in energy programs at PG&E, and I now work for Home Energy Analytics, which helps people save energy and electrify their homes. So I wanted to express my strong support for the staff's proposal of all electric new construction of all building types with minimal exceptions and greatly expanded EV charging infrastructure. Preventing the use of fossil fuels in new construction will create affordable, more affordable, cleaner, healthier, and more resilient houses and buildings. I do request to minimize the exceptions, including none for the multifamily, change that to a case-by-case basis if needed for equity reasons, and to shrink the non-residential FHI and L to at most the hospitals and correctional facilities. There's no need for a blanket exception for all these building types, and they can be also handled on a case-by-case basis, like some other jurisdictions have done, including Sunnyvale. The factory, hazardous, and laboratory uses are significantly more energy intensive than other use types, and therefore produce much more greenhouse gases if fossil gas equipment is allowed. And because of that high energy intensity, case-by-case exceptions are the responsible thing to do. In the case of multifamily buildings, case-by-case exceptions could be applied for and made, but for two reasons, this is an equity issue. In my work in helping renters save energy, there's a split incentive problem. So by delaying the electrification of these, you're shifting the...
Our next speaker is Bruce Nagel. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Yes, I want to thank all the speakers that came before and listed many of the important issues. There's a couple that I would like to focus on. First off, equity becomes a very important issue. This is something that we're seeing in a number of places, most notably in Bay Area Air Quality Management District is looking for eliminating ordinances on the long term. And they are looking to make sure that there's an equitable from gas to electricity. So it's something that definitely needs to be considered. The second thing is that this is a continuing process. We have not finished with this REACH code. We have to understand that we'll be coming back again in the future, and we need to plan that. That was something that was highlighted by one of the cities we've given presentations to. Important issue is that we now have problems with climate change today, and it's just going to get worse. And has been mentioned before, we want to leave our children and grandchildren a habitable planet. And if we don't start to take no ability to work on this, we will not. We have to remember that the earth is ours to be good stewards of, and we need to do that in order to make sure that we have a safe planet for generations to come. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Our next speaker is telephone ending 150. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking. And your mic is open.
Thank you. Again, Doug Muirhead, Morgan Hill. I have two quick comments for you. One is really the inadequacy of the agenda item summary. Item 9 says you're going to promote building electrification and electric vehicle infrastructure new construction. Actually, what you're doing is you're going to either reduce or eliminate natural gas use. I think that's a somewhat different conversation, and people that aren't in the know would not necessarily know that they might want to comment on this. The other point I want to make is, because Morgan Hill went through this many months ago, you had staff and presenters or public commenters talk about how this is always less expensive. One of our premier developers described several of his projects. In some cases, it is less expensive. In other cases, because of the geometry of multi-family units, for example, it's very difficult and challenging. Over time, of course, as technology evolves, you may be able to make that claim, but I would question whether you can categorically make that claim now. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dasha Leeds. Please accept the unmute to begin speaking.
Hello, my name is Dasha Leeds. I'm the conservation assistant for the Sierra Club Loma Prieta chapter. There are 5 young people on hunger strike right now outside of the White House. They're currently on day 7. I was watching a video of them. The words of one of the strikers, Abby Leedy, is stuck in my head. She was talking to Joe Manchin as he was just walking away from her, and she said, "I want to live. I want to live. Young people want to live." I don't know what the federal government's going to do. It's up in the air, but it doesn't look good. And we need to do everything we can. It is up to all of us, to wherever we have political willpower and the ability to act in this defining crisis of our time. It is on our plate. It is up to us. And what we are asking here, this is like the bare minimum. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's the stopping of new unnecessary fossil fuel assets from being built. There's a recent study done in the scientific journal Nature that said to be able to remain under 1.5 degrees Celsius, we cannot install new fossil fuel assets. So this is something we absolutely need to do for the survival of our planet. I hope you move this policy along, because this really has to be just the beginning. We need to transition our society away from fossil fuels. And if the federal government can't lead, then we need to lead and show other people what the right way to do is. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Diane Bailey. Please accept the unmute to begin.
Hello there, Chairperson Wasserman, Vice Chair Simidian, and staff, and thank you so much for the opportunity to comment. My name is Diane Bailey. I'm commenting on behalf of the Campaign for Fossil-Free Buildings in Silicon Valley and our 37 member groups working together to accelerate a phase out of fossil fuels from all of our homes and buildings. Our coalition strongly supports the proposed REACH code for all electric construction as well as EV charging. We sent a detailed comment letter recently in support. We urge you to recommend that this move forward to the full county board as quickly as possible for their consideration and without any further delay. I understand that there's interest in taking more time to consider the proposal, but I really urge you to act with greater urgency and consider that this has been part of a regional dialogue for several years now and has become really the mainstream choice, with more than 10 other cities in Santa Clara County, which have all adopted electric REACH codes similar to what we're talking about here. We're part of a broader movement in California recognizing the extreme health and climate damage of using gas in our homes and buildings. 50 cities and counties have taken action to prevent or limit the use of fossil fuels like gas in new construction. The proposal before you is a strong one, and it represents the mainstream. However, we would urge you to limit the exemptions, as my colleague James Tulia has described. For example, hospitals are a place where it's especially important to provide clean air and a safe environment for patients. So I hope you'll consider including hospitals, correctional facilities, and ADUs. As you know, and as Dash Leeds explained so well, we are in a climate crisis, and these building code changes are needed to help us make this transition that we need to get to a clean energy economy if we want to have any hope of achieving a stable climate in the future and averting the worst impacts. I hope you'll move forward swiftly with this proposal straight to the county board. Let's do our part towards a climate safe future. Thank you so much.
And that concludes our speakers.
Thank you, Peggy. Before I make my comments, I'll turn to Supervisor Simidian.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I comment and ask questions, what's your thought about how long we can go today? I can, if we continue the item to the 9th, which I gather you're amenable to, I can do some of those offline. I'd like to do as many in an open and public forum as I possibly can, but I want to respect whatever the time constraints are that you have in mind for our meeting.
Thank you. This is our final item of the day. The rest of the items we handled on consent. I'm open to stay here as long as you need to. I understand this is an item that you want to hold and hear more about later, but you have some questions you'd like to put out there now. So please go right ahead.
Thank you. And then with your forbearance and understanding that we're okay on time here for a little bit, I want to just share with folks who have spoken to us from the public about the urgency of addressing climate change, my shared concern And frankly, forgive me, Mr. Chairman, I want to just share a little history of my own involvement, because I don't want my probing questions to be misunderstood or misconstrued or misrepresented. And so, you know, for folks who are talking about the urgency today in 2021, I hope they take some comfort in knowing that in 2006, a decade and a half ago, I authored, as a member of the California State Senate, the legislation that got us to 20% renewable energy in the state of California by the year 2010, in spite of the fact that there wasn't a heck of a lot of urgency, frankly, back in 2006, which we had to overcome. And then in 2011, a decade ago, I authored the legislation that brought us to 33% renewable energy by 2020. And again, there still wasn't a heck of a lot of urgency even a decade ago. But those two efforts here in California and all the people who made them real are responsible for the fact that we are meeting our greenhouse gas goals, our climate goals here in California, pursuant to the California Global Warming Solutions Act, which I was co-author of back in the year 2006, with leadership from then Assembly members Fran Pavley and Fabian Nunez. So I share all that in part, as I say, so people don't misconstrue my questions, and also so that they don't for a minute think I don't understand the urgency. I thought the matter was urgent a decade and a half ago, and there were others who, you know, thought it was urgent prior to that time as well. That being said, I think it's important that if we do this, we do it right. And that's what a lot of the comments and questions go to. I also think that we have to do it in a way that builds allies and partners, and that doing it right, doing it rigorously, being intellectually honest, addressing some of the outstanding issues is what brings more people to the fold. We're only going to make the kind of swift, urgent, and meaningful action that people are exhorting us to achieve if we bring others along. So with that in mind, the first thing I want to do, Ms. Anshano, there were a couple of folks who expressed concern about a, quote, exemption for multifamily housing. I want to just clarify, no one is proposing, nor do we have before us, a, quote, exemption for multifamily housing. What we have is an exemption for multifamily housing that is already in the pipeline. Is that correct?
Supervisor, the language, and I may have to yield to Tony Lopresti, the language is building projects approved by the board on or before December 31st, 2022. That's the language that I understood to be included, but
so
perhaps
let me go to Mr. Lopresti then, since that's where you're saying. Mr. Lopresti, there is not in any of these versions a quote unquote exemption for multifamily housing. There is in one of the versions an exemption for projects that are already in the pipeline. Yes?
It is an exemption for projects that are approved by the board prior to December 31st, 2022, which, as I understand it, and I might need to defer back to Ms. Onciano for this, that for the most part, that would only include projects that are currently in the pipeline.
Yeah, I want to ask staff going forward to clarify and, forgive me, correct the language that is being used, because I think you are sowing concern where there need not be concern. The ordinance as proposed applies to multifamily projects. There is a version of the ordinance that says, hey, for projects that are already in the pipeline and that are approved prior to the date that was provided, we will not ask them to go back and undo the work they've done over the last several years. So let me just make sure that that part is clear. The second clarification is there was reference a couple of times and in the report to carbon-free energy sources from our Silicon Valley Clean Energy Group. as the board sponsor of our effort to join that consortium to get clean energy, and as a founding member of that board, I do want to clarify that while the energy may be carbon free in a technical sense, it is not, quote, renewable energy consistent with California's state law definition of renewable energy. Now, it's still a great leap forward, and I'm still proud of it, but I just don't want people to think that using existing large hydro to achieve a carbon-free goal means that we are pushing the envelope in a way we are not. Again, I think you got to be intellectually rigorous and honest about these kinds of concerns. Then for Ms. Anshano and her team and Mr. Lopresti and his team, as I look at the proposed ordinance in its various forms, I'll just call out what I want to make sure I think is a minor typo on page 2 of 18. Page 2 of 18, the language of A3 says, because of its local climate, topological, and geological conditions, the unincorporated sea is particularly negatively impacted by climate change. Is that single letter C supposed to be county, the unincorporated county?
I'm pulling up the document. I'm sorry. Because I have to
That's
make
on-
sure.
Tony?
I don't know which one he's looking at.
Supervisor Simidian, on the version that County Council has reviewed, page 2 of 18, I'm not seeing that typo.
I'm not either.
Yes,
So-
and it is, however, in other copies. So whatever copies we get, I'm assuming that the C is county, and let me just ask staff if there are other, if they bring any of these back to just, it's a minor typo, but it should be corrected so it doesn't carry forward. And yes, Mr. Lopresti, as I'm looking at the most recent arrival with footnotes, I see that the version with footnotes does in fact say county, where the C is in other documents. So I'm going to take that as a confirmation. Let me just ask for staff, whoever is best. I am, when staff comes back on the 9th, and if I'm going to ask the chair to support me in these requests for information, could we get some information about cultural issues around cooking in terms of cultural competency? And I know that this discussion, when it has taken place in other venues, has generated concern from some communities of color, some immigrant communities about cooking practices. And I just think that they ought to be acknowledged and addressed in any action our board takes, because we pride ourselves on cultural competency in our work, given the diversity of our county. Could we also get some clarity about the cost of the proposed requirements on the grid for the various levels of compliance on charging stations? In other words, to the extent that there's a requirement that such and such a percentage be at this level, what's the cost to do that on a per space or per unit basis? If it's a full capability, what's the cost to do that? We don't do that. And again, I think, and please, again, do not misconstrue the question, but if we're going to build support for this, we need to indicate that we understand the cost, that we accept the cost, and we think that there are longer term, both cost savings and environmental imperatives that move us in that direction. But not addressing the costs leaves us open to criticism that I don't think we want to invite. Then on page 5 of 16 in table 1, in the staff report from Ms. Anshano and Ms. Sharma, there is a list of San Mateo County cities that have adopted ordinances, or it says summary of ordinances adopted by counties of Santa Clara and San Mateo County. And I'm trying to understand, all 15 Santa Clara County cities are listed with their status, but in San Mateo County, where there are 20 cities, it appears that only 11 or 12 of them have been listed. Is there a reason the others are not there so that we know what's happening in those communities as well? I appreciate the effort to go look at a next door county. I think that's helpful and important. I'm just trying to figure out why the other cities are not there.
Luciano?
I believe we only looked at the cities within our county, but Supervisor, are you saying you would like for us to look at San Mateo County as well?
No, Ms. Anchano, I'm looking at page 5 of 16 in the staff report.
Okay.
If nothing else, everybody will be persuaded that we read the staff reports as a result of this conversation.
Yeah.
Page 5 of 16.
Okay.
And it does include a table 1 with all of the cities and their status on these issues in Santa Clara County.
Right.
Then at the bottom of that same table, it says San Mateo County, city status, building reach type, EV reach higher than, so on.
Yeah.
And there are only 11 of the 20 odd cities in San Mateo County. And I just—
Supervisor Simidian, if I could respond to that, my understanding was we had included the full list of 20 cities. So if we can go back and look at that, if the slip up had been from our end, there were multiple versions of the file, and let us confirm if we slipped up on including the additional 7 cities.
Great.
Bottom ones got cut off.
Yeah.
We look into that.
And again, I want us to be bulletproof. You should forgive the expression on anything we move forward on. And I don't want anything to be subject to unnecessary critique. There is passing reference to the fact that Stanford University as an unincorporated area would be a subject to these provisions. I just want to make sure I understand that correctly. Yes?
Yes.
Has anybody been in touch with Stanford University, since they are the source of at least half of our development in a given year, to engage them in this conversation?
Yes.
Yes.
We have made them aware of this reach code ordinance.
Any reason why my office can't reach out to them and make sure that they're attentive as well as aware?
No, I don't believe there's any reason.
Don't see any reason why.
Thank you. I just, given the larger set of land use issues that I know Ms. Anchano is familiar with, I don't want to be in a position where we take meaningful action only to hear from them after the fact rather than during and the process. Same with folks in the building industry and the building trades unions. Have they been engaged at all in this conversation?
Yes, Supervisor Simidian, we actually had public outreach over a year ago, and we had, how many, Michael, about 5 meetings maybe? Because we did previous meetings 3, and then we followed back up with 2.
That's correct, right, yes. And they
we did, yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Oh, no, that's all. We've had 5.
And just to understand from a legal standpoint, and this may be for Mr. Lopresti or Ms. Anchano, the applicability of this is to projects that our county approves, either because they are on unincorporated lands within our jurisdiction, or we approve them because we have exercised intergovernmental immunity and are the approving agency or entity, as we are, for example, on the teacher housing project in Palo Alto. Is that correct?
Yes, Supervisor Simidian, that's correct.
So Mr. Lopresti and or others, to use a different example from today's same agenda, we have a project, a multifamily project, which is clearly a county project. which we're working on in Palo Alto at 525 Charleston. It is designed to provide affordable housing for individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. But because that project is being reviewed and approved by the city of Palo Alto, our ordinance would not apply if and when it's adopted, which I hope and expect it will be. The city's codes would apply. Is that correct in that instance, even though it is a quote county project?
That is correct, Supervisor Simitian.
Yeah.
Okay. So on this issue of pipeline that I raised earlier and that I raised in advance of the meeting many months ago now, how many projects do we have that are quote in the pipeline for approval? Do we know?
No, I do not know. Mr. Lopresti, do you know?
My understanding from the outreach that my staff has done is that there is only one project that would fall within the exemption, which is the 231 grant project.
Okay. And I think that's important for members of the public to understand because, as I said earlier, there was concern about an exemption for multifamily dwellings. And in fact, what you're telling us is there appears only to be one such project affected by the possible exception. Do I have that right, Mr. Lopresti?
Yes, that is my understanding.
Okay. Was any consideration given by staff to the impact of these requirements on creating affordable housing?
Yes, we did consider the impacts and the equity of putting in the charging stations and having this be applicable to affordable housing projects. We did.
And
Supervisor Simitian, if I can add, we actually met with a couple of affordable housing developers and had one-on-one conversations with them to understand, because REACH codes have been adopted by a number of cities across the Bay Area, and it's been about 2 or 3 years. So we wanted to better understand kind of where were things 2 or 3 years ago and what challenges they are facing. And what we heard, kind of a quick summary, was that they are finding it cheaper to build all electric. Sometimes it's not feasible because of some technical reasons, and that we have provided an exemption or an exception in our ordinance for that. They had said like gas infrastructure is a risk and a liability factor, so they're actually prefer to move away and go all electric as well. So those were some of the things, but we did do that.
And Ms. Sharma, if I could just follow up, I have, at least early on in our conversations about decarbonization, I heard more acceptance of electrification for things like water heaters as opposed to space heating. What's the current state of the art in terms of heating and air conditioning and electrification? Just anything you can share, I'd appreciate.
I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit more technical. So I don't feel like I'm qualified to speak to that, but if you want, we can include that in our report back for November 9th as well.
I think that would be helpful. And again, I'm sure the public missed it altogether, but we had a little inside the organization back and forth about footnotes on the ordinance. And I'll just say, I think the footnotes are important. The reason I think the footnotes are important is because whatever we do, we want it to be legally defensible. We want it to be strong. We want to lay out the case. And so, Ms. Sharma, when I'm asking you again, and I know I keep saying this, but it's born out of experience. It's not for lack of enthusiasm, quite the opposite. It's because I want to make sure that when we do this, we do it in a way we can be proud of, that is that is defensible, that is going to be absolutely top of the line. Let me go to this issue of EV stations. And I don't know who the right person for this is, so I'll just ask if Mr. Alvarez, at present, probably somewhere between 8 to 10% of the cars in California are electric. The number is ticking up, but perhaps more slowly than many of us would like. I think first quarter this year, the number might have crept up to 11%. I see various estimates on, if and when that number will be great, but I'm curious what got you to 100% in terms of infrastructure at this point. And I want to be very clear and formal about asking for a cost analysis on this when we revisit. I want to know what it costs when we revisit the issue on the 9th.
That's being directed to Michael.
Or whoever else is the right person.
Yes. That was for that particular example that I provided, and maybe we can come back on the 9th with alternative examples that might be helpful.
I can answer if you
I was going to ask you, Blake, or someone from Silicon Valley Clean Energy, if they would like to chime in on this.
Blake, go ahead.
Yes, hi, my name is Blake Kershaft. I'm with DNV. We're a consultant for Peninsula Clean Energy and Silicon Valley Clean Energy. To the EV question, the goal is to provide at the lowest possible electrical cost access to charging for every unit. So if there's 2 spaces per unit, only half of the spaces would have EV charging. But in an example where there's 1 parking space per unit, all of the spaces would have EV charging. It's kind of a little different than Cal Green, which does it as a percentage of spaces. The goal here was that for every dwelling unit, there's a port. For the level 2 ports, those could have an automated load management system so that the electrical infrastructure was less expensive.
Blake, if I may interrupt for a minute, Supervisor Smitty, on your question. Blake, as I understood it, level 1 was simply an outlet.
Correct.
Okay, it's not any thicker cable. It's whatever 12 gauge cable, whatever it is. It's simply having an outlet, a regular wall-mounted outlet in front of each car.
Correct, which is much less expensive than running level 2, especially when it comes to a transformer.
I understand that. In the example Supervisor Smitty used, 60 out of 100 were level 1. And
Correct.
level 1 is an outlet. And can you put 2 or 3 outlets on one circuit?
For level 1 charging, you would want to have 1 circuit per outlet. In that case, for the level 2, you can put 4 chargers on a circuit.
Understood. But if you're doing a simple outlet, like in my office here, I've got 3 or 4 wall outlets and the lights, and I think they're all on one 15 amp circuit. Supervisor Smitty and I were both stunned when the answer was 100 would need to have electrical capabilities. I just wanted to clarify that level 1 is simply an outlet, but you did make it more expensive by putting 1 outlet per circuit. That makes for an altogether different sub panel. It's certainly additional costs. Thank you. Please continue.
It's just because of like the hair dryer issue that would happen if you plugged 4 hair dryers into your office, the circuit would trip. It's about the same power level. And I can answer the water heater and space heater question.
Before you do, Mr. Hershaft, I just want to thank you for the clarification, because what I hear you saying is that if I want to be precise and accurate in my language, which I do, I should say 100% of the units, not 100% of the parking spaces. Is that
That's the goal, where we're really trying to balance equal access for all to the lowest possible cost.
And what you're thinking about the rate at which and the certainty that we're going to get to all electric vehicles. We've been saying 5 years for 20 years now. So I'm a little anxious about that.
We're moving slower, and COVID slowed it down more, as did the supply chain issues with COVID, slower than I would have hoped. 2035, no new sales of electric vehicles in Norway. That'll be next year. No new sales of internal combustion engine vehicles. So I would say it's ramping up very quickly. And the main reason here is that if you don't install it now, you have to install it later. That's about 5 times the cost. These buildings will last 80, 100 years. It's the fiscally prudent approach to install it at the time of new construction.
Yeah, thank you. I think the charging infrastructure is key. There's no reason you would know, Mr. Hershaft, but Mr. Wasserman may remember a few years ago when I asked that we not charge for access to our charging stations here at the county government center and at other county facilities, because I wanted to incentivize the growth in electric vehicles and thought that charging was a small disincentive. We've since imposed a charge in an effort to ensure that folks make way for the next charger after they're done, because they have a reason now to do that. But I thought then and still think it was the wise strategy to, particularly in what is regrettably still early days, do everything we could to incentivize. You were about to answer my earlier question, and thank you, I appreciate that, about heaters, heating systems, heating and air conditioning systems, because candidly, I'm just not as current on that piece of the conversation as I'd like to be.
So unfortunately for me, unfortunately for you, my background is mechanical and plumbing system design in commercial and residential buildings. I'll start with residential, single family, just because it's an easy example. Water heaters, heat pump water heaters cost the same to operate as a gas water heater would. They've been common in the United States since 2010. I don't have one in my home yet, but they're becoming fairly common. They've been market available since 2010, and there's maybe 10 manufacturers that make them. They look like they look like a tank style water heater. On the space heating side, a heat pump space heater is what would be recommended. If you have central air, if you would have specified, if a building has central air conditioning, if it would specify a heat pump, that air conditioner would have an extra $400 part that lets it run backwards. And now it's a heat pump. The heat pump has been available in that configuration in the US since 1950. The heat pump was invented before Lincoln was president. So it's a fairly mature technology. On the small commercial side, it's very common. It's the same kind of thing, just specify the heat pump instead of the gas unit for like a 1 to 2 story retail or office building. As you get larger, you're getting into more complicated systems that would already exist on like a chilled water plant. It gets a little complicated, but for the more difficult types are in multifamily dwellings that are kind of large. A central heat pump water heating system does take up more space than a central gas-fired water heating system. So that's one difficult, basically anything that uses a lot of hot water, you end up having more space requirements and some more capital costs. But all the technology is available for every building type. I don't want to bring up, I will bring up Norway again. So Norway doesn't have natural gas at all.
If we could, Mr. Chair, get some information from staff on the feasibility and practicability and cost of these larger systems. I am mindful of their relevance to affordable housing projects, multifamily projects. I am also mindful of the fact that at Stanford University, for example, they recently built 1,000 grad student units or beds. I can't recall whether the number applies to the number of beds or units, but I just, again, I want us to anticipate rather than respond after the fact. Okay.
And if I may, through the chair, Supervisor Smitty, we'd also like to come back. There are a number of car manufacturers who have pledged to go, to produce electric vehicles by 2030 and 2040. And maybe we can bring that information back to you factually, also when we come back in November relative to the car dealer manufacturers, Toyota, BMW, Ford, that have pledged this all electric or the production of electric vehicles. And then we'll just bring that information to you as well, if you would.
I know that Ms. Anshano, that you think of these issues from a planning standpoint, a building standpoint, that staff looks at it from a technical standpoint. But I'm thinking about it from a legal standpoint. I want us, as I say, to be as bulletproof as we possibly can. I want us to have findings of fact when we adopt our ordinances that are absolutely defensible. And I think, as I say, the more we can demonstrate that, you know, we looked at that, we looked at that, we looked at that, the more likely we are to bring others along in this crusade. Okay, that's all I have for today, Mr. Chairman. I'll say thank you very much. And I'll follow up with staff offline between now and November 9th.
Thank you. I will share, and I know each of our districts are different, but just the rainfall event we had, I'm reading from a letter I got from PG&E. This was Sunday at 3 o'clock. And at that point, PG&E in their system had 500,000 people without electricity. Breaking it down into Santa Clara County, there was approximately 70,000 people without power for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours. On Monday, there were people again without power. And I just caution, I mean, obviously things are going to electric cars. Okay, I think that's awesome. I think it's wonderful. I think having charging capabilities everywhere is great. I just need to toss in there my concern about making things all electric when electricity currently in our area is not dependable. Whether there's an actual storm or not, whether there's a turkey jumping up onto a power line and tripping one of PG&E's devices that closed off the whole line, or a branch falls off a tree and closes the line. When you have 500,000 people serviced by just PG&E without power over the weekend, power for their refrigerator, power for their freezers, power for their Wi-Fi, power for their lights, power for their medical equipment, breathing, whatever it might be. I just need to caution all of us that at the same time as we're going to all electric for a variety of reasons, and I can tell you from personal experience, the heating and cooling equipment is not only more expensive, as was said by Blake, it also takes up, Blake said it takes up more room. It certainly takes up more room and requires all kind of reconfiguration. But I'm confident as we go towards electric, it will become the norm and things will get better all the way along. I'm comfortable if that's where we're going. I'm comfortable that's the right way to go. But what I'm concerned about is forcing apartments, homes, commercial buildings to be all electric when electricity is not a dependable source of energy at this time. And I think the reason for that, for the most part, I'll just use gas. Gas goes underground. We need to get PG&E and everybody else in California under the governor's law to go underground, to use steel poles, to construct and modify their existing infrastructure so that it is dependable. And that's what we need. And we need to make sure that things go underground. I'll stop repeating myself now, but I'm concerned about making us dependent upon an unreliable source. And I will close with that. Supervisor Simidian, you have your hand up?
Thank you. I apologize for one more thinging you, Mr. Chairman. I will also follow up with staff on what I'm going to ask that we refer to as projects in the pipeline and how we define the exception, if that's the right word, for projects in the pipeline. Staff and the council have thus far come up with projects that are approved. And believe it or not, I think that raises the question, what does approved mean? Does it mean, approval of the project after it's gone through CEQA? Does it mean that it came through a board agenda and our board approved it? So I'll follow up with them and I'll have a well-formed opinion that I'll share at our next board meeting, our next committee meeting on how that might apply. But I do think it's important to assuage any community concerns that the indication was that as far as council knows, that that's all of one project that might be affected. And that's a project that's been in the works for 4 years at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. That sounds good. Why don't we just take a roll call vote, Peggy, on the motion supervisors committee and his ideas and requests and suggestions, all of which I agreed with.
Vice Chairperson Simidian.
Aye.
Chairperson Wasserman.
Aye as well. Thank you very much. The rest of the items were concluded. Sorry about my answering machine in the back. We are now adjourning to Tuesday, November 9th. Take care. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.